On July 16, 1969, it was one small step for man and one giant leap for mankind when the U.S. space program launched Apollo 11 into space, the mission that would put the first man on the moon. On this occasion, Joann Morgan made her primetime debut as NASA's first female launch controllers. She sat amid a sea of men inside NASA's firing room for the liftoff of Apollo 11. It wasn't easy getting there.
During the Apollo 11 mission, my role was at launch control. The Launch Control Center in Florida is where the Saturn V and the Apollo 11 was launched from. And I'd already been working there for almost 10 years, so for me, getting to work in the firing room was pretty exciting. The firing room is where the managers and the test conductors and engineers and technicians are gathered. There are close to 500 people. They're in one room together and they're literally locked in there in that room and focused on completing the mission.
Morgan is 78 years old now. She began working for NASA in 1958 when it was still a male-centric environment. At the time, she leaned on her husband for support.
And some of the things that happened to me, like obscene phone calls, I would never repeat to anybody except him. I could tell him exactly what was said, but I couldn't tell anybody. I couldn't tell my mom and dad. I couldn't tell my supervisor. I couldn't tell my coworkers. I just could not do it. And these are things that each individual has to handle based on their own personal strength.
Usually Morgan worked the overnight shift before launches. She would be replaced by male colleagues a few hours before showtime. As Apollo 11 loomed, Morgan's boss went to the top to get her on liftoff duty. After Apollo 11, Morgan became the Kennedy Space Center's first female senior executive. She retired in 2003. Today, she encourages young women to study engineering, hoping for more gender equality in future missions.
I hope we don't see pictures anymore with a lone woman in a sea of men. I hope we see pictures with, we don't have to have a lone man in a sea of women either. I'd like to see pictures in these technical environments like a mission control, a launch control, or even our Congress, where there are a lot of each genders who are working hard.
Nearly 50 years after Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon, NASA officials say they plan to return with a new program called Artemis, with the goal of landing the first woman and the next man on the lunar surface by 2024.